Hey guys, so today I'm here with the Barricade HD rocker steps fitting all 2018 and newer two-door JL Wranglers. So if you didn't get a side step on your Wrangler out of the factory, or you're just not a fan of the factory side step, and you're looking for something to take up that wheel-to-wheel space with a ton of different benefits, this option by Barricade is going to be a good one to take a look at. So speaking of those benefits, this is going to provide you easier cab access, easier roof access. This is going to provide you an aggressive look from wheel to wheel, and what it's also going to do is provide you some pretty heavy-duty protection to that side rocker area. So speaking of that step, this is going to provide a step in the rear as well as a step in the front for easier cab access and easier roof access if you have a roof rack on your Wrangler. And it's going to be a pretty large platform for a lot of real estate underneath your foot. So what I do really like about these plates up top is the fact that they do have cutouts. That's going to serve as some style points, but what it's also going to do is allow a little bit of drainage so there's not any water sitting on top of this steel plate here, making it slick on those wetter days. So you are getting a little bit of traction out of this design as well. Now, speaking of the protection aspect, these are going to be pretty heavy duty and provide you the protection that you may be looking for out of your Wrangler. So these are going to be very durable, made of heavy duty steel tubing. It's going to have a textured black powder coat finish on top to protect that steel underneath from any rusting. And what it's also going to do is provide less potential to get stuck on any lower obstacles on the trails like rocks or stumps. And then overall, this is just going to provide a really aggressive look to the side of your Wrangler, and it's going to match with any other textured black accessories that you already have mounted up. Now, these are going to be pretty affordable at roughly $200, and I personally think that these bring a lot to the table as far as functionality goes and the aesthetics go for that price point. So other less expensive choices that you may be taking a look at on the page are usually going to provide that lighter protection and mainly be for just getting a boost up into your Wrangler, as to where this is going to serve both those purposes. Now, other more expensive options, on the other hand, are usually just going to have a little bit more to their design. They may have drop-down steps, they may have removable steps, which are going to up that price point. But again, I personally think that this brings a lot to the table. This is really going to get the job done as far as protection and getting easier cab access goes at a very affordable price point. So install is going to be a 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. It's probably going to take you about an hour to get these both mounted up with a couple of basic hand tools. So speaking of the install, let's jump into that now. The tools that I used for my install were a 1/4 inch drive and 3/8 inch drive ratchet, a 10mm and 16mm open-ended or box wrench, a 17mm, a 13mm, and a 10mm deep socket, and an impact wrench. So first things first, we are going to go ahead and mount up our side step, and then we can go ahead and mount up our secondary brackets to our pinch weld. So you're going to need something comfy to lay on and your medium-sized hardware stage, and we can head underneath our Wrangler. So once you have your brackets on your side step lined up with the captured nut plate in the body of the Wrangler, we can take our medium-sized hardware, our flat washer and lock washer, and we can go ahead and thread that into the body. It is also helpful if you have a second hand, but you don't necessarily need it. So we're going to leave these pretty loose. We do want to make sure that there's still some adjustability to the side step while we mount up our secondary pinch weld bracket. So now we can install our secondary bracket onto our primary bracket. I'm in the rear of the Jeep, and this is going to be our rear bracket. It's going to be the one with the flat part that touches our pinch weld. So we can take our larger bolt, our 2 flat washers and the nylon lock nut that's provided, and bolt that through our primary bracket's arm. Now again, we're not going to tighten anything down. We want to make sure that all of our adjustability is open so we can adjust our step to where we want it. But after that is on, then your bracket's going to be in place, and we're going to take our smallest bolt, our 2 flat washers and the nylon lock nut, and bolt that through our pinch weld. And then the same for the other side of the bracket. Now we can move up to our front bracket. This is going to be the secondary bracket with the L-shaped bend. And then we can just do the same process. Take our larger bolt, 2 washers, and nylon lock nut. Put that through. So once you make sure that your step is where you want it and everything's adjusted properly, then we can start to tighten everything down. So I am going to start with the top bolt that's connected to our body using a 13mm socket. I want to make sure that bracket is flat. You can do the same for the other side. So once you have the top bolt tightened down, we can move to the pinch weld. So I'm using a 10mm wrench and a 10mm socket. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing for the other pinch weld bolt. So after the pinch weld bolts are tightened down, we can move on to our bottom bolt. This is going to be our larger hardware. I'm going to use a 16mm socket and a 16mm wrench in order to tighten that down. So that's going to wrap it up for my review and install. Make sure you like and subscribe, and for more videos like this, always keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.